views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to the transformative show, We Carry the Light, with host Dr. Susan Allison, the show that inspires you to find the light within and shine your light in the world. Who are you right now? And who do you want to be? What is it that makes you happy, helps you feel fulfilled, and living your purpose? Tune in and let Dr. Susan help you discover that you carry the unique light that only you can shine. Now, here is your host, Dr. Susan Allison.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to We Carry the Light. And as I always say, and I mean it, I feel so grateful that you're here. I would not have a show without you, and I'm just feeling very blessed that you're here today. And it's going to be a great show. I'm here with Belinda Womack, who is author of Lessons from the 12 Archangels, and I've been reading her book this week, and I love it. All of her insights and the insights from the angels have been particularly helpful in my own life. And I know that as soon as you order her book, they're going to be helpful in your life as well. Her book, and this is my favorite kind, her book is very experiential. And what that means is that every section, she has some insights that she shares, and then she has exercises. She has prayers, she has affirmations, she has a way for you to actually dive in and do what you need to for your own life through her exercises. And I love that kind of book. And I actually am going to share with you, I did an exercise, I did several, but the one in book 2 was particularly helpful to me. Her books are like chapters. So in book 2, you're connecting with the archangels, and I got this message. They said, keep doing what you're doing. We love you deeply, and we are always here for you. Well, of course, that brought tears to my eyes when I received that message. And they, your guides, your teachers, your spirit allies, helpers, ancestors, departed loved ones, all of the beings who love you often say things like that. They say, we just love you, and we're so happy you're doing what you're doing. But it's so confirming. And after they said that, I felt this calmness inside, like I could relax and not feel that I'm doing this alone, which is a complete myth. It's an illusion that we're here alone, and it's based in fear. But sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this by myself. Well, I'm not, and neither are any of you. We have unseen support, and we have seen support also here on Earth, but we also have unseen support in the spirit realms. So actually, this reminds me to mention my own book that's coming out December 1st, and I'm very excited. It's called You Don't Have to Die to Go to Heaven, Find Guidance and Healing in the Spirit Realms. And you actually can order it today on Amazon. It's very thrilling for me. It's my 5th book, but my very favorite. It has everything in it that I have learned and studied and been for my entire life is in this book. So I can't wait. I can't wait for you to read it. So I know it's why I love Belinda's book so much, is that our work is very similar. We are both helping people feel connected and supported by all the beings who love us. And there's so many. And I just feel this is so awesome to have her on the show today. And it's always perfect, isn't it? The perfect guest shows up. And I'd like to tell you a bit more about Belinda Womack. She's the creator of the 12 Archangels University, which is an online change your everyday reality to heaven on earth education platform. For nearly 25 years, she's had an active spiritual counseling practice to support individuals, couples, and families. She also writes an email newsletter called Insight by Belinda Womack. She's a scientist by training with a dual master's degree in biology and environmental science. Belinda was called into service in a whole new profession by the 12 Archangels while she was in her lab doing stem cell research. She lives in Freeport, Maine with her husband. And Belinda, I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me here, Susan.
You're so welcome. And you can see after my introduction probably why I loved your book so much, that there's so much that we have in common.
Well, yes, if your new book is that you can go to heaven before you die, I love it.
Yep. No, it's about learning to go to spirit realms, to spirit travel using shamanic journey, which I've been a shamanic practitioner for 22 years. And this book is about teaching everybody to go now, get wisdom, bring it back, and change their lives now rather than waiting for a near-death experience or waiting to die, that we actually can get this wisdom this minute, which your book is also about, isn't it?
It is, and so it's just so powerful for us to remember we can have access to the truth that's really going to help us here on Earth right now. It's not a secret. We really do have access to all the help that we need. It's within us, and it's all around us.
I agree, and that's what your book shares, and it's about. I'd love for you to start, because I know after my introduction that listeners are curious about what happened to you in your lab. I'd love, when Archangel Gabriel contacted you, I'd love for you to tell us about it, and also how it is that you access and connect with the archangels is something I think would interest listeners.
Okay. Well, it seems like it's another lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
I was working in a medical laboratory and just doing my normal experiments that I was required to do. So I had a bone marrow sample in one hand and my syringe that I was using to take the lymphocytes off. And it seemed that I was completely taken out of the lab. So I ended up in a stone room that had a dirt floor, and when I share this story, that I was very concerned because I was supposed to be in a sterile lab doing sterile technique, and here I am barefoot on a dirt floor.
Wow.
And so it looked like a very ancient room. And then there was this beautiful ray of golden energy that appeared, like a big beam of light, and in that light was Archangel Gabriel. And the way I knew which angel it was is because Gabriel had a trumpet. And angels can appear to all of us in many different forms, but they wanted to make sure that I knew it was an angel. So very traditional, beautiful robes and huge wings and a trumpet. And Gabriel sent the message straight through my mind, so I could not miss it. Belinda, we are calling you to do a new kind of work. We need you to help human beings to remember that they are God's divine children. And so the first thing I did was I panicked, and I said, I think you've called the wrong person, and I don't have the education for that. And Gabriel said, well, we just need you to know the information in the book to your left. And so the book to my left was on a huge stone table, and it was maybe 3 feet wide and a foot deep, and so it was a very impressive book. And then I was even more intimidated. So then the book opened, and there, in beautiful scarlet fire letters, was the word love. I said, okay, love, that's something, I feel I can do. I feel I can love. And then the next thing I remember from this, out of laboratory vision that I had that was so real and very tangible, every part about it, I could smell the room and hear and taste and feel everything, was that Gabriel said, we will be back in touch. And I said, okay. So then I was back in the lab. I thought I had been gone surely for most of the day, if not for quite a few hours. I looked at my watch, and not 1 minute had gone by.
Wow.
And my whole body was just vibrating, like, oh my goodness, where have I been? What's happened to me? Am I losing my mind? And so that was the beginning of working with these angels. And then you've asked me, how do I access the 12 archangels, which are, of course, they help all of us. You know, they are the co-creators and mentors of Schoolroom Earth, and they work together with our guides, our helpers in heaven, our ancestors, our committee, whomever is called to help us. The way I do this, and the way that I've been taught to teach this, is I go through my inner child. So I connect first with my little Belinda, and that's a very clear vibration for me. I know that if I have that connection, that opens a special doorway that we all have that opens us to our superconscious so we can connect with heaven. It also will connect us, if we need to connect to our wounded child or our wounded self, so that we have access to our subconscious, so that we can transform and heal those sometimes ancient beliefs that are still controlling us in unknown ways. So the way that I work with the angels is through my heart center or through my divine child, so that I can feel and hear and know and sense that I'm on that, perfect laser line of truth. And if I'm off even by a hair, I can feel that very quickly. So that's why, I personally believe that angels encourage us to connect with that little child that lives within us, because just like real little children, human children, they like to tell the truth, and so does the child within us.
No, I love that. And you have several parts of your book talk about the child within, about healing the wounded child and accessing this inner child, that sort of the happy, innocent, sweet, this child. And I definitely have her alive and well in me, and listen to her and the wounded child. In fact, I have them talk to each other. And,
definitely.
Yeah. Have them talk to each other, and if the wounded child's feeling sort of bereft one day, she'll talk to her, and we'll come up with something that we'll go play or do something really great that day or whatever she needs. But I like that you brought that up during the book. And I wasn't sure in the book how you access, and everybody in a sense has a different modality, in the sense that I'm very auditory. And so since I've been a child, I've heard messages that come, like you said, Gabriel's message came in your mind. And that's how my messages come, is from allies and teachers. But since I've been a child, it's been mainly auditory, but some visual, where I've seen angels also, but it's been mainly auditory for me.
So Susan,
Yes.
the angels feel that, and I'm probably saying the same thing you did, maybe with just a little bit different language, but they say that the clearest clair that we have, meaning clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairgnosis, is truly when we hear it come through our being, so that we feel it, so that it may come through in our thoughts or our inner voice in a clairgnosis, meaning we know. But it's when we connect our feeling to that, so we really feel it in our bodies, that clairsentience. That's when our whole bodies will react, will just relax, because we feel that very pure connection. So I feel like I'm just saying what you said about yourself.
No, it's beautiful.
But in
I'm glad
way.
you added that about the feelings. And it was like when I did the work in book 2 of your book, the message came through, but it also resonated, and I had goosebumps or God bumps. It resonated through my whole body, and I could feel, and I had tears in my eyes, which I know that also means that it's in my heart.
Yeah.
That was a good sign. So as I said earlier, I love your book. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Belinda Womack, and she has a great book out which is lessons from the 12 Archangels. And she's sharing with us today about those lessons. At the very beginning of the book, I love what you say. You define God, like almost the first sentence or the first paragraph of the main part of your book. You define God and who God is and where God is and so on. I loved it. Loved how clear, and I could resonate with it. Could you talk about that, even though it's pretty abstract for some folks?
Well, so according to the 12 Archangels, asking where God comes from is asking your own mind, heart, body, and soul. Where do I come from? Mm-hmm. And what am I made out of? Angels and humans and stars and oceans and black space in the night sky are all made of the same substance angels call energy. God is energy. And this energy is the substance of all that is physical and non-physical as well. That is how, that's how the angels talk about where does God's energy come from and where do we come from. Well, we're all made of energy. The universe is made of energy. Angels are made of energy. And so we always live within the heart of our Creator. And that amazing power, the greatest power of all is the power of love, is always within our own atoms, spinning around there, helping us to wake up that we don't have to live in fear, but to make that choice, as we know, Susan, is we have to police our thoughts. We have to choose love and gratitude at each and every opportunity, because it's all about vibration here on Earth. It's all about energy.
That's right. That's right. Isn't it incredible that quantum physics is really helping? I mean, it's been around since the 1930s, but it feels like people finally are getting out of Newtonian materialism into quantum physics, finally believing that everything is energy. And, as an energy healer myself, in terms of Reiki and the reconnection, some folks, when I'm teaching, I talk about quantum physics, and then they get it in terms of energy, that everything is energy.
Well, I think it definitely helps when that left logical, rational hemisphere of the human brain can catch on, and it just helps things to feel here on this dimension, in this reality. It just helps things to feel more grounded and more real, even though the creative, spiritual part of our brain says, yes, I've always known that. Exactly. I've always been there. But It's just wonderful when that other part of the way we have been wired, our other wiring says, okay, now my computer connects, and yes, I get energy. I get that I am energy.
Exactly. And I think just in getting it is what we want people to do, is to get it. So I also I was very fascinated how you talk about time in the book, that you say that time is an illusion. And can you talk about that a bit?
Well, according to, again, the 12 Archangels, and they helped Mother, Father, God to create Schoolroom Earth. And so Schoolroom Earth is a place where we come to experience the illusion of fear. And the illusion of fear makes us believe, that's why we have an ego, that we are separate from our Creator. So, and it actually happens right inside of our own brain. So our ego believes that it is separate from our soul. And so time really helps support this illusion. So we believe, with that, again, that left hemisphere where our ego lives, that there is a past, a present, and a future. And here at the Great Schoolroom Earth, we get to work with time to be able to realize we can transform our past, because really time is an illusion. And when we transform that past with love, we do not create it in our future. And that's something kind of basic, but so many of us human beings, we forget that. wait a minute, I co-create with Mother, Father, God, and I'm creating my future all the time. I'm dreaming it into being with my thoughts and my beliefs, and also even what I've got in my deep subconscious. So if there's pain and suffering in our past, we're still holding on to that. So we're actually still living in the past, in the present. And if we can transform that, we don't need to take our past into the future. And that's where that illusion of time really reveals that, yes, it is illusion, but it's something we can work with to help ourselves.
I love the way you explain that. And you also mentioned fear and separation as you were talking. And how do we as humans let our fear and separation go? And it's one thing to say we can do it, but how do people do it?
Well, in the book, the angels talk about our chakras, and I would say that most people who work with spiritual healing or involved in healing energy understand the chakras. These are batteries of spiritual energy that are right inside of us, and the different chakras or batteries have different healing qualities. Now, they're all made of love, and they all work with love. And they come in these beautiful colors. And the wonderful thing about the chakra or the battery that's around the top of our heads called our crown chakra, it's a beautiful purple, right? The color purple. And when we just imagine this color, that's all we have to do is to activate that super powerful energy. It starts to transform our fear that we're thinking about consciously and subconsciously. And then, because our angels and our guides are always watching and helping us, when they see us activate that crown chakra just through our creative imagination, they add in their power, their healing power, together with us. And so we are working with that violet energy or violet flame that transforms fear back into love. And it also then brings in the vibration of forgiveness. And forgiveness helps us to transform even deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I love that. I love, in fact, those of you who are just tuning in, we are talking about messages from the 12 Archangels, and Belinda Womack is the author. And I love, Belinda, how you talk about all the colors of the chakras in the book. We don't have time to go into it, but I loved, for instance, the heart is this emerald green, and you talked about, a way to visualize that, and it's very comforting the way you did it. And so people can read your book and they can access all the chakras and all the colors, depending on what's going on for them, whatever chakra they need to tune into.
Well, and they can use all of the many very gentle guided imagery exercises to experience. You're going to very much experience this healing. And then when we heal within, we see a shift in our outer reality, because again, we are creating our lives moment by moment with our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs. Mm-hmm. So within us all the time is our own transforming power to really raise that vibration of fear by transforming it back into love, so that we experience heaven on earth more and more and more in our everyday lives. And that's where it is. It's not about, like you understand, we die and then we get to go to that amazing, wonderful vibration of heaven. No, we're here. We're here to bring heaven right here, to live in it right now. And it really works.
Yeah, it does. The last chapter of my book is called Bringing Heaven Home. And so after all the messages people have gotten in all the chapters of the book, then the last chapter is about bringing it all into their life right this minute and transforming it. And so I agree with you that it's about heaven on earth, and each person can create it.
Yes. And the more we do it, because again, we are all made of the same energy. We are all made of our Creator's energy, and so we're all intimately connected. So when any one of us brings more heaven, pure love, laughter, joy, abundance into our lives, we do that for the greatest good of all concerned. So everyone on planet Earth experiences a positive shift, and that helps Mother Nature, that helps to transform pollution, because we're transforming the pollution we have inside of ourselves. So we don't need to have so much in our external reality. We really can heal our planet. That's honestly, Susan, what I was trying to say. We have the power to heal our planet. We do.
I know, and you say that towards the end of your book when you have the those beautiful messages, the 48 angel messages. You talk about that we can transform our planet, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. You know, I'm still struck by your experience with Gabriel, and you opened the book, or the book opened on its own magically, and the word love was there, and it's almost like your contract. It's almost like they were showing you your purpose, and you said, well, I can do that. And I have so many people say to me, I don't know what my soul's purpose is. You know, how do I find it? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, but it's not doing what I'm doing now. I feel like I have this greater purpose, but how do I find it? Do you have any wisdom for listeners who are in that place?
Well, Susan, first of all, the soul that lives within each of us is always guiding us, whether or not our ego is aware of it or not. And, you know, from my experience and with helping people, you know, lots of times we are living our purpose. We are doing amazing, great acts of goodness for God. We just are taking ourselves for granted. We just don't always know how to value ourselves and what we give and what we do as human beings. So I just would say, if you really feel that you don't know what you're here to do, all you have to do is to say, show me. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
Because we all are in service to God, whether we know that or not. We play different roles, and we play different roles for each other as healers. We're all healers in a certain way. We just may not, again, be aware of that. Now, vibration makes a big difference. If we're down and out and we are locked in shame and unworthiness, then it makes it a lot more difficult to really step up onto our spiritual journey and move forward, because it takes a lot of courage, as you know, to be a shaman. It takes a lot of courage, and courage comes from the will chakra, from the sapphire blue energy of Archangel Michael that lives within us all the time. And that will, that higher will, is connected with awareness. And so we can help ourselves by being in that sapphire blue. I love to see my whole spinal column and all of my skeletal structure stand up in that sapphire blue, because the Archangel Michael is also planet Saturn. And we can get in touch with, okay, how do you want me to move forward? I'm sure you've experienced as a shaman, that sometimes we still come to places on our path and say, all right, what next, God?
Yep.
You know, we may know what our soul is wanted us to do yesterday. Okay, so what do you want me to do today? And that sapphire blue energy really helps to just move us forward, even if our ego is trying to hold on to the the railing and go, no.
Exactly. It's beautiful. I love that. We're going to come back in a minute after a break, and we're going to talk some more about letting go of what no longer serves us, so we can truly be here fully on our spiritual path. We'll be right back.
Think about it, there must be higher love down in the heart and in stars above. Without it, love is wasted.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Shine
On Radio. Find Your Shine with Kelly is the show that celebrates what makes you, you. Join co-hosts Kelly Wadler and Dr. Pat Basili as they break down how to brilliantly fuel and move your body and love what makes you shine. Kelly is a professional arts and wellness coach dedicated to helping brilliant women find their confidence, energy, self-love, and shine. Tune in to Shine On Radio with Kelly and find your shine on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Leslie Fontaine with Sheer Alchemy on Transformation Talk Radio, and here's my tip of the day. Let's talk about unlimited thinking. Let's talk about limitlessness. What would it look like and feel like? Is it only for special people? What if you aren't living a very abundant, powerful life right now? Is this opportunity closed off to you? Absolutely not. This is your chance, without lifting a finger, even telling anyone around you, or leaving the house. You can begin to step into all that you are and all that you were meant to be. Pay attention to the arguments that arise as you articulate the limitlessness of your opportunities, your finances, and the loving and supportive friends and family members around you. Draw them in. Let's shift those agreements from the lower level energies to those that allow you to step into all that you are. Visit me at lesliefontaine.com and listen to Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Let the transition begin. Tune in to the hit show, Majestic Insights Radio, Success for Life's Transitions, with host Carrie Keith. Carrie is a gifted intuitive coach, healer, and teacher who will lead you through her empowering techniques of ancient wisdom and awareness so you can live your happiest, healthiest, and most vibrant life. Let Carrie teach you the tools of transformation that will help you experience success for all of life's transitions. To learn more about Carrie, visit www.majesticinsights.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
I've been thinking on where's it turning and just hanging on, facing a fear, standing up there alone.
Welcome back, everyone, to We Carry the Light. This is Dr. Susan, and I'm here with Belinda Womack. We're having an incredible discussion about her book, Messages from the 12 Archangels. And I hope that you've benefited already if you've been listening or if you've just tuned in. There's more to come. So, Belinda, before we get so caught up in our conversation, which I know we will, please tell listeners how to get your book, how to contact you, and if you have any workshops or any way for people to do work on the phone with you, anything like that, please share with them.
Thank you, Susan. So the best way for your listeners to find Belinda is at my website, and that is www.belindawomack.com. So that's BelindaWomack. You can order a copy of Lessons from the 12 Archangels, Divine Intervention in Daily Life, directly from my website. That if you order it that way, then you'll have a signed message or a channeled message just for you from the 12 Archangels. You can, of course, also find the book on Amazon or through the Inner Traditions Baron Company website as well. And I have many wonderful audio classes and online classes available on my website, again at belindawomack.com. And my only in-person event that is scheduled right now is a book signing in Stonington, Connecticut on the evening of December the 3rd. But my schedule and where I will be it goes up on my Facebook page. You can look for that at just author Belinda Womack is how you'll find me on Facebook. I believe wonderful. I've covered it, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. So people can really contact you and follow you and do your work. So before the break, we were talking about, if people get stuck, if they are in sort of a negative energy or they're feeling stuck in the past, whatever it is the issue is, how do people clear that? You have mentioned some of the colors and some of the chakras. I see people all the time who are depressed. Our whole nation practically is on prescription drugs, and I both feel that it's necessary sometimes, and other times I'm disturbed by how rampant it is in terms of people using antidepressants. So is there a way that you could even channel it now or from your book to help people who are depressed or feeling anxious? Those are the two issues I tend to see the most.
Well, one of the things that the angels ask us to remember is that we are telepathic and empathetic and sympathetic beings, even though we may not realize that. And so very often we are actually absorbing negative energy from all around us. And when I say negative energy, I mean depressing thoughts or what's going on in the news or what's happening across the world. We can actually feel that and soak that up within our own psyches. So what the angels recommend is that we begin by just clearing our minds. But they recommend that we can do all kinds of fun things. We can imagine that we take a swim in a violet, purple swimming pool, and we just say, I surrender, I release, I let go. And then we take some deep breaths and we fill up with divine love. And we ask divine love to go into the very cells of our bodies and to go where love is missing. And it's amazing how that very simple technique, just to dip in some color purple and then fill up with love, can really shift our moods. But we human beings, because we have an ego and we think it's all about me, the angels can call that our little me. Well, we can forget that we're not all alone and there's all kinds of help for us. Even calling on our guardian angels and saying, hey, I'm in a funk. Can you help me shift this mood? Can you help me breathe in some love? It's amazing how miraculous we can shift that mood. You know, love really does balance serotonin and dopamine in our brains. So, you know, it's a very, very wonderful, awesome antidepressant that we have access to all the time. And it really, really does help. That color purple, there is nothing like it to calm anxiety. And there's some exercises in the book for, just zapping anxiety. The tricky part, Susan, that it's not really a trick, it's that we have to do this sometimes a few times a day.
Yeah.
Because we are, everyone's changing on our planet. And there is a lot of transformation happening. And so we just have to stay aware. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And then to remember, yes, of course, I have help and I have the power within me. So that synergistic, effect between angels and guides, not that there's so much on the outside, but it feels like that to us. And then that power we have within, wow, can we, experience remarkable results. And that's what the 12 archangels are all about. Their number is symbolic. They represent new cycles, right? We have 12 signs of the zodiac and 12 months of the year, and they say, your mood is going to change. One thing you can be sure of is it's going to change. And we can get depressed when we get overwhelmed emotionally and when we've just soaked up too much of that negativity. And again, angels exist. They're here to help us, and love is the answer. So what's going to help us with anxiety? Bring in love. Breathe it in. Ask for it to come straight from divine source into where it is missing within us. It knows just where to go.
I love that. I was doing that while you were speaking, just closing my eyes. You're right that we tend to pick up energy from our environment and what's going on. I know that on Sunday was Day of the Dead, and at my spiritual center that I go to, they had an altar set up, and we all brought pictures of people who had passed on, who had transitioned, and I was taking in all of this. People sort of crying softly around me, and I lost my husband 2 years ago, and so his picture's there. Well, I left, and I was having a very hard time, and I had to stop and ask for help, sit quietly somewhere, and envisioned being surrounded by my loved ones, earthly as well as heavenly. All my spirits came, all the angels, all, I have children and grandchildren. I just imagined them all around me and holding me. And it was a visualization I did just very briefly, but it completely changed where I was. And so I do believe that asking for help, you mentioned earlier, people say, show me what my purpose is. It's asking for help, saying, this is what please guide me, putting that plea out. And I feel that every time we're answered.
Definitely. And the other thing that, as you understand, that really does help to shift our moods and our kind of our perspective is gratitude. Gratitude is the most wonderful attitude to have. But the angels say, it's not about going into denial of our feelings. As you shared, your husband went to heaven 2 years ago, and here you're experiencing not only the memory of that loss, but of all of the loss of those gathered together in that ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's when we can say, thank you, angels. Thank you, loved ones in heaven, for letting me feel you, for reminding me that, yes, you can surround me with your love and lift me up. It's much, much easier, as you know, to raise our vibration and connect with our loved ones in heaven from that much more heavenly vibration of love than to ask for them to reach us when we're down in the abyss of sorrow. So it's by breathing in that gratitude, thanking our guides for being here, thanking ourselves for being brave human beings. My goodness, that's just truly miraculous to say thank you for me. And then we can shift, and then it's like, wow, okay, this is not the end of my world. I'm learning here. I'm learning about me, and I'm learning about God. Sometimes we human beings, we want to give up. If we don't have that instant manifestation of what we want, we think that if we didn't get it immediately, God has abandoned us. Well, God uses what we desire as that golden carrot to get us to grow. And what does that mean? Well, to take responsibility for what we're thinking and what we're believing. And that means that's a full-time job to take responsibility for that. If we have negative thoughts coming through our minds and we're obsessing over who has hurt us in the past or what's going on in politics, or the earth is going to die because of global warming, that pulls us down. What we want to do is we want to remember, hey, I've got power. I've got love. And I can make a difference here. And I can make a difference for me, and I can make a difference for everyone else. Just like you did after that special ceremony, when you called on the people that love you in heaven and on the earth, you shifted that sorrow for everyone. And you probably, knowing how powerful you are, you probably shifted it for the whole planet. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It was, and the more we do this, the more we know how to shift it. It can happen really quickly.
Very quickly.
It was like a blink of an eye. It's like I was surrounded. I felt the love. I loved. They loved. I sent the love out. And it was like everything was the vibration was raised. And I think that, the more we practice, because we do need to practice this, it can happen almost instantaneously.
Yes.
Really
That's
cool.
how powerful love is. It is the greatest power.
Yeah, it's I loved, I was mentioning it during the break. I love your 48 angel messages in the book. And you were just talking a second ago about the law of attraction, which is law number 36 in your book. That I liked what you said, that it's in God's time, not in our ego's time. Say something about that. That really resonated with me.
So the soul, together with the heart, is always attracting to us what is for our greatest good. Our subconscious, together with our thoughts and feelings, are always drawing to us what we need to transform. So if we're thinking negative thoughts, then we will attract those kind of less than satisfactory experiences in our outer reality to say we need to change this. And, whenever we put a prayer or an intention out to our Creator, God is going to answer that prayer, but it very much is in God's time and in God's way, because our Creator can see the big picture for us.
That's
and
right.
Knows when what we've asked to receive is going to be also for the greatest good for all concerned. We're all in this together. That's sometimes what we can forget.
Yeah. We're also really impatient, as humans. That's something that I've seen in my own life. I see it in my clients' lives, that we really feel strongly about something. We really want to happen in our lives, but we want it now. And it's like I have clients come to me who say, I want to meet my soulmate. It's not happening. And I say, it hasn't lined up yet. What you need to do is you become your own soulmate, and you work on yourself and just walk out there, and the person's going to walk right in. And I'm constantly saying that kind of thing to people because it hasn't lined up. We're co-creating it. And
well, definitely. Yeah. And also, if we're not ready, then we're not ready. And
exactly.
That's something that the angels tell us. They say, you can beat the bushes, but if you're not ready, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Your soul is always in charge.
Exactly. That, readiness, it's like, I think Shakespeare said this, it may have been in Hamlet, but he said something like, readiness is all. And it's so true that if we're not ready or willing, it's not time yet for us. We haven't healed enough. We haven't, whatever it is we need, it hasn't happened quite yet. It isn't going to happen.
Right. And that's why the angels, they encourage us to learn to love to learn.
Yeah.
Love to learn. Love to learn about yourself and understand that, we're all in this together. So if one of us is seeking that soulmate, as the example that you gave, and we understand that other person has to also, get lined up, well, that's facilitating such amazing healing far beyond the two people involved in this story. And we just, because our ego just is very self-focused, it's what it was created to do, is just to see self. We just don't understand that. It's like, really, my finding my true love, it's going to have an impact on everyone? Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. My departed husband, that was definitely my soulmate, used to say that all the time. He used to talk about the rippling of the energy between us going out, all the way out, the vibration into the universe, helping heal all relationship. And I completely believe that. In fact, one of my favorite of your angel messages is number 39, which is about love and marriage, where you have a prayer and you say to your partner, I allow you, all of you, to love me. And that just was so beautiful, that the more unconditional and deep the love, the greater the healing of our own wounded children inside us. And perhaps we're helping heal everybody else in relationship as we do that.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved that part of your book. So I want to talk about this before the show ends, which is number 25 of your angel messages, which is, how do people recover from addiction? I thought it was brilliant. And I have, the angels are the ones that channeled that through you. The 12 archangels said that we can recover from addiction. How?
Well, so I'm just going to read the first line of this message. Addiction originates from longing to be one with God. Only divine love can fill your heart, soul, and mind with completeness and joy. And then it goes on, humans have tried everything imaginable to fill the void created by separation from God. You have tried using drugs, work, sex, relationships, sacrifice, entertainment, money, and the list continues of false substitutes for divine love. These medicines do not last, and so you try more of what does not work. And then that goes with this message on curing addiction, they have a guided imagery called Restoring You. And this is where it's a wonderful, wonderful, simple imagery where you call on the help of Archangel Michael and you visualize that you are a tree. And you understand that those roots are not going into the heart of God. They're now replugged into whatever it is that we might be overly attached to or addicted to. And so, of course, the great Archangel Michael helps to clear that. And then we reground and we reach up to the sky and we become a brand beautiful new tree of life. And it really, really, really helps to shift that false substitute, plugging into what just really wasn't, what doesn't last very long.
Yeah. Would you read the first sentence again?
The very first sentence, addiction originates from longing to be one with God. Only divine love can fill your heart, soul, and mind with completeness and joy.
Wow. I think it's so beautiful. Yeah, I was just brought tears to my eyes when you read it. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And I see people in my practice who have addictions all the time. And these coping mechanisms that people reach for, that there's a hole, if you feel like there's a hole inside, and then filling it with food or filling it with sex or filling it with drugs, alcohol, the internet, television, whatever people's coping mechanism is. Even I see people over-exercising to the point of hobbling around on a sprained knee and they're still out there running. That's also an addiction. What do people, do you feel that those exercises, particularly in that section, can help people heal that hole, close that hole that's inside? Yes,
that is the whole mission of the 12 Archangels and their teaching and helping us. And they remind us that we can work with the material in the book every day. We can ask our angels for a question. We can focus on the 48 messages and say, what's going to help me right now? And we can open to a message and read that message and do that imagery exercise that comes with it. And for myself, I've been working with this material for 25 years. And every time I open this book, it is like I've never heard of it before. It's always so brand new, and even just walking around holding the book can really make me feel better, and I've heard that that's true for other people.
Wonderful.
But I just want to mention quickly, it doesn't help to judge ourselves, even if we have recurring addiction, because there's a wounded child in there that is just trying to survive.
Exactly.
Addiction is linked to survival. We have to figure out a new way to survive before we're going to give up that anesthetic.
Yep, you're so right. And Belinda, I need to say goodbye. The show is nearly over, but it's been such a joy to have you here today.
Thank you so very much for having me on your show.
You're so welcome. And thank you, my amazing listeners, for choosing to fill yourself with inspiration once again and go out and do what you do best. And just by being yourself, you're touching lives and improving our world. So thank you. Please join me next week when one of my favorite guests returns, Dr. Bernie Siegel, who has a new book, which is Love, Animals, and Miracles. So all you pet owners and animal companion lovers, you're going to love his book and Bernie Siegel next week. So until then, remember that you carry the light.
You've been listening to the transformative show, We Carry the Light, with host Dr. Susan Allison, the show that inspires you to find the light within and shine your light in the world. Who are you right now, and who do you want to be? What is it that makes you happy, helps you feel fulfilled, and living your purpose? Tune in every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and let Dr. Susan help you discover that you carry the unique light that only you can shine.